Hey, Riley, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, we will go straight into questions for you, and we'll kick it off with John Newby. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. Riley, I talked to Smoke a few weeks back about you, and he compared your situation to where, you haven't won in the Xfinity series yet, but he compared to himself and how he used to tear shit up all the time when he was in the Xfinity series. And he said that he expects you to flip a switch and start, cranking out 7 or 8 wins a year. How does that affect your mindset knowing that the owner is so much in your corner entering these playoffs?
Well, first off, it's good that he said that. But second off, I don't think that he would have me drive his race car if he didn't think that I could win and produce and ultimately get him checkered flags or trophies. So hopefully we can get him a trophy this weekend and lock ourselves into the round of 8. But I think it's soon, and I think it's around the corner. But once we do get the trophy coming, I think there's going to be a lot more on the way.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question will come from Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Riley, curious, what do you think? What do you need to do to kind of flip that switch to kind of challenge more for wins? And do you kind of view these playoffs as kind of a second chance on the season?
Yeah, I don't think it's really a second chance at all. I think we have to execute from my standpoint behind the steering wheel. No mistakes on pit road. Stop kind of trying too hard, being a little bit too eager, driving too aggressively, and getting into incidents or wrecks, I should say. But honestly, I think our last month finishes have kind of trended in that direction. I don't know if you'd think so, but back-to-back top fives is a lot better off than I was last year going into the playoffs. So I think we're in a good mode right now.
Do you have to temper yourself as far as knowing, versus trying to get out of the round versus potentially winning races? Risk versus reward as far as winning versus points racing.
Yes and no. I feel like if you have a consistent first round and finish in the top 10 in all 3 races, you're gonna move on to the round of 8 fairly easily. Just because I think once the playoffs start, people and things start to unwind and people kind of lose their mindset. You saw that at Darlington in the Cup Series and at Gateway and in the Truck Series. So if you're not one of those drivers or you have a clean first round, I think you'll transfer pretty easily. But I also think that when you're in the round of 8, you're going to have to win to go to the Final Four. But with that being said, I'd rather have a must-win scenario in the round of 8 than the round of 12, just because there's 2 mile and a halves, and I would argue that would be our best pace we've had all year is on the mile and a half. So having Kansas and Texas being the round of 8 is probably a good thing for us.
Thanks, Riley.
Next question will come from Dustin Albino. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, Riley, 5 top 10s in the last 6 races. Like you said, the back-to-back top 5s leading into the playoffs. Where do you feel like the turning point was for the team this year?
I think after the Glen, I think we started to put better results on the table. I also think a big turning point for ourselves as a whole was after Charlotte. Although we didn't get the finish we probably deserved or wanted at Charlotte, but to be fastest in practice and to qualify on the pole by that big of a margin was a big morale booster for ourselves on the 98 team. But kind of, I like we talked about a little bit earlier, I don't really think it was much surprise these last few races to myself or the 98 team. More surprise to you guys, the media on the outside looking in, just because we feel like we've had this speed all year long. We just haven't been able to capitalize and finish in those spots.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Davey Siegel. Go ahead, Davey.
Thanks. Hey, Riley. Compared to last year going into these playoffs with JGR, where do you feel like the difference lies with the race team and with you behind the wheel specifically compared to last year at this point right now?
Well, I don't really remember what races it was before the playoffs last year, but I definitely don't think we had back-to-back top 5s and 4 straight top 10. So I think we're in a better position that way with the momentum, if you want to talk about it in that sense. But I think overall, I think I've become a better and more mature race car driver. At least I'd like to think so. So hopefully we can use my little experience that I have to try to push us into the round of 8.
Going to Vegas, do you feel any extra added pressure there being your home race, or do you approach it just like any other?
Honestly, I approach it like any other race, but honestly, it's a little bit more fun for me, a little bit more relaxing, honestly, just to hang out with family and friends where I can kind of just let my guard down, and then I get to go to the racetrack and have fun and go drive a race car and try to go win a race in front of my friends and family.
Good deal. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Next question will come from Nathan Solomon. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, Riley, thanks for your time today. Last year, obviously the playoffs did not go well for you at JGR. So, this year, how important is it to redeem yourself and kind of show that you belong in this series?
I don't really look at it from that sense at all. The 2 years are widely different. I can count on all my fingers how different they are from manufacturer to team to crew chief, from teammates to no teammates. So I think this new year is a new year by itself, and I think we need to capitalize on this year. And we have a really good opportunity this weekend at Las Vegas to show that we belong and show that we have really good speed, and we've had it all year, and we're ready to win races.
You just mentioned not having any teammates this season. How does that, I guess, change your approach going into each race, knowing that you don't have 3 or 4 other guys? I mean, obviously you have the Cup guys, but you don't have 3 or 4 other guys where you can talk about and strategize and work together with.
Yeah, with that being said, I feel like the only big hindrance where that hurts us is kind of the play tracks. But honestly, with no practice or qualifying at each race weekend, you're kind of on your own. So you don't really have teammates to bounce things off anyways after or before practice. But if I do have questions, I can go to any one of my Cup teammates, Harvick, Eric, Chase, or Custer, and they'll be happy to help me. And they have this year, and I think it's helped me a lot.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next question will come from Marty Sakala. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Sam. Riley, thanks for the time. I want to go back to Bristol last week. I have a feeling you've been asked this by a lot of the media members here, but just what's your mindset like on that final lap when you've got the leaders in front of you just overdriving the corners?
Yeah, it was kind of hectic. Obviously nobody can predict the future, but I definitely knew something was going to happen between the 22 and the 16, just because the owner sees the regular season championship was on the line, and 15 points are pretty big. So all heck was going to break loose between those two, and I just needed to be there to capitalize. And I feel like if I would have cleared the 7 out of turn 2 a little bit earlier and didn't get drove to the apron, I feel like we would have had a better shot to pass them or at least get second. Who knows honestly what would have happened, but it was pretty hectic of a finish, and it was cool that the fans enjoyed it.
Have you had a chance to watch the replay of that finish yet?
Yeah, so we had an in-car camera. I had the helmet cam, so I watched that quite a bit to see if I could have done anything different, getting up through the gears or going through the first lap or anything like that. But it was definitely pretty on my edge of my seat just watching it and kind of reliving what happened.
How about as well maybe the TV cameras in general, like what NBC was showing?
Yeah, I've seen those angles quite a bit as well, and I feel like we did a good job of closing the gap to the front 2, the front 3, and then like I said, me and the 7 just got tangled up, and hindsight, I wish we didn't. Maybe we could have been closer to those 2 when they made contact and kind of stole one there, but it is what it is. It's over. It was cool to get a 3rd place finish at Bristol, but you want to win, and now we're in the playoffs. Looking forward to Las Vegas.
Appreciate the time, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Riley, that's all the questions we have for you today. Thanks again for joining us, and good luck in the playoffs.
Awesome. Thank you.